nobody knows whether this bomb would really work. It's an enormous pile of rock.
And you
Meters.
need two of those, right? I was
No,
speaking to a defence expert. You need two of them.
The educated opinion, I'm afraid, is that you would need serial attacks
Right.
with this weapon to guarantee any form of success. It's extremely concerning. It's a very open question, never been used in hostility before.
Now let's get a bit more detail. This could be potentially a huge story today. The UK Defence Journal is reporting that two US Air Force B-2 stealth bombers have reportedly departed from the Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri in the States and appear to be heading towards Diego Garcia, that is the strategic US military base in the Indian Ocean. Robert Fox is defence editor for the Evening Standard. Robert, let's just talk about why this is significant when it comes to discussing US involvement in this Israel-Iran war.
Well, it's getting the absolutely key bomber and key bit of ordnance ready to go at hours' notice should Donald Trump say, yes, go, we're going to join in, because we know how America will join in supporting Israel's attack on Iran, because it's only the US Air Force and this particular bomber can deploy the bunker buster, the MOP, the massive ordnance penetrator, which weighs over 15 tons, which may be capable of penetrating the four-door underground mountain laboratory or engineering factory producing the enriched uranium for the bomb. That's where the bomb, they think now, really would be produced when Iran finally, if it does do so, decides to go nuclear.
Let's just sense check this. Is it at all possible that Donald Trump could have delivered this instruction via the head of his army to scare Iran into coming back to the table to engage in more serious discussions? Or do you not issue this sort of instruction unless you seriously intend to go with some sort of operation?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it is an element of bluff. There has to be an element of bluff about it. And in view of the discussions with the foreign minister, Garcia, yesterday, and the European foreign minister, so the foreign minister of Iran, who said no talks unless Israel stops, that it is to put more pressure on Tehran and put pressure on particularly Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, wherever he is. And he certainly isn't in Tehran at the moment. Yes, it is ratcheting up, but this is a one-shot wonder. What it reveals, though, is that the bombs are probably already in Diego Garcia, which raises a whole lot of questions for the UK.
Interesting. The UK, it's thought, would have to give a sort of cursory permission to the United States. There are big questions about the legality of this war and the UK getting involved. But as I understand it, and please enlighten us, it would be automatically granted, essentially, by the UK to the US to let these bombers launch from Diego Garcia.
Quite apart from recent Labour Party history, I'm afraid, Kate, because we've already had what comes around goes around. The arguments we had about Tony Blair's commitment of British forces alongside American in Iraq 2003, where there was a resignation from the Foreign Office lawyer about this, and the Attorney General, the current Attorney General, Richard Hamer, best buddy of the Prime Minister, they were brothers in arms in the law, in human rights law, is also raising the same questions about ROE, about that's rules of engagement, about laws of war, the conduct of war. Is this a war of aggression, unwarranted war of aggression, in which Britain could be seen as a collusory or just an ally?
And very briefly, Robert, sorry to rush you, but coming towards the end of the programme now, how long would it take bombers carrying those big bunker buster mops, how long would it take them to get from Diego Garcia to the point over that four-door facility in Iran to launch a strike? How much time?
About 2.5, 3 hours. But I'd just like to throw in one thing, Kate. Nobody knows whether this bomb would really work. It's an enormous pile of rock.
And you need two of those, right? I was speaking to a defence expert. You need two of them.
The educated opinion, I'm afraid, is that you would need serial attacks with this weapon to guarantee any form of success. It's extremely concerning. It's a very open question, never been used in hostility before.
Robert Fox, thank you so much. Defence editor for the Evening Standard. Lots to think about. And of course, we'll be across that story all day on.
Have you ever had women Could a woman make your team, fellas?
Been updated on that?
No, we're having a meeting in an hour. We have a meeting downstairs in 1 hour. Yeah.
Mr. President,
The standpoint of winning a war is doing pretty well. Yeah.
think would happen?
I have a plan for everything, but we'll see what happens. We've got a ways to go. They should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days we talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet, and they want to come to the White House. They'll even come to the White House. So we'll see. I may do that.
Now, you seem very open to the idea of potentially taking U.S. action. Obviously, you're not going to tell us that. Can you walk us through what contributed to that change, how you got to where you are in making your decision now?
Well, I think it started the first night. I mean, that first night was devastating, and it really knocked the one side off, as you know. It was a devastating evening, day, and it's pretty much proceeded that way. I have a meeting in the war room in a little while, situation room, as some people call it. So we're going to meet. We're going to see. We're in the midst of it. It's a terrible thing. I hate to see it. I hate to see all that death. So much death and destruction, but death primarily is what I hate to see.
Does that mean you haven't made a decision yet on what to do?
I have ideas as to what to do, but I haven't made a final. I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due. Because things change. I mean, especially with war, things change with war. It can go from one extreme to the other. War to Josh. He's a very good friend of mine. But with that being said, I would say right now, Israel, from the standpoint of winning a war, is doing pretty well. Yeah, please.
Turning Point USA, sir.
Well, they're very good. Turning Point, Charlie.
Mr. President, in your meeting today with the Chief of Staff of the Pakistani Army, did you talk about Iran? Did that come up? Is there anything you can share from that meeting?
Yeah, well, they know Iran very well, better than most. And they're not happy about anything. It's not that they're bad with Israel. They know them both, actually, but they probably, maybe they know Iran better. But they see what's going on, and he agreed with me better. But they see what's going on. Yeah, well, I don't want to get involved either, but I've been saying for 20 years, maybe longer, that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time. And I think they were a few weeks away from having one. And they had to sign a document. I think they wish they signed it now. It was a fair deal. And now it's a harder thing to sign, It's a lot of water over the dam. But, it's very, I say it very simply. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Too much devastation. And they'd use it. I believe they'd use it. Others won't use it, but I believe they'd use it. So that's it. It's very simple as far as I'm concerned. They can't have a nuclear weapon. So happy. There was a deal that two smart people.
For the Iran, the possibility of an Iran deal, is the destruction or the dismantling of the Fordow nuclear enrichment center, is that a prerequisite for a deal? Is that a red line for you?
No, it's just something that people talk about having. We're the only ones that have the capability to do it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to do it at all. Yeah, we have the best military equipment in the world. You see that with this fight. We have planes that are undetectable, flying around like, nobody's able to see them stealth. You guys want to be stealthy tonight. You can be stealth, you'll never lose, right? But these are incredible planes and weapons. We have the best weapons in the world, by far. Nobody close. And certain countries take advantage of that. Israel has incredible weaponry. So we'll see what happens. I've been asked about it by everybody, but I haven't made a decision.
Mr. President, you
have to think about that one.
You talked earlier today about having daily conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah.
How have those conversations weighed on you in terms of getting more involved? He's been lobbying for the U.S. to get more involved. Has that had an impact in kind of your evolution, sir?
Look, we talk, and I'd like to see everything done. I would have preferred having just an agreement, a strong agreement, verifiable agreement. But it was such a shame. They were so close. Iran was very close to signing what would have been a very good agreement for them. And maybe that Could still happen, I guess. You know, they do want to come and see us. They want to see me in the White House. That's a big statement, but it's very late.
Is it enough of a statement to hold off getting?
We're going to see what happens. Look, we're going to see what happens. Ending it as soon as you can would be good.
Have you closed the door on meeting with them?
No.
Okay, so it's still open to them coming here in your
Yeah,
eyes.
I mean, they asked if they could come. We'll see if that happens. It's not that easy for them to come. They can't get out. You know, they're in Iran, and in one case, the guy wanted to come so badly, but he can't get out because there's bombs dropping all over the place. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.